Nvidia is on the verge of taking off. Over the following 10 years, I'm talking about a 100x return. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. To find out how, watch the entire video. Well, you're still optimistic about the market as a whole following a week in which we had guidance from ARM, Western Digital, Intel, and now Microchip. Well, no. My bullishness is limited to firms that are actually supporting Nvidia or heading to the GPU. You see, during the Amazon conference call, they indicated that Nvidia is sold out, demonstrating their complete awareness that they must invest in AI. They've been sold out for a while. They are most likely sold out through 2025. Indeed, the expenditure plans that we have heard and confirmed by companies such as Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and Amazon have not deterred anyone from believing that Nvidia will continue to be the primary benefit. However, the market is currently undergoing a significant rotation. In the end, consumers are worried about whether the Fed is falling behind, but none of it seems to address the main issue, which is that Nvidia may be sold out for some time to come. You listen to Amazon, after all. Naturally, they must construct their own, but that is a defensive tactic as they are unable to stop creating their own chips, developing their own chips. Here you see Atom. Yes, this is how I view Amazon. Given how awful the stock sounded today, I believe it's crucial. I would purchase it. Amazon needs to purchase a lot of planes because they are aware of the high volume of business. They must erect hangars. It is no longer necessary to place passengers in planes when purchasing a large number of them. They spend a lot of money purchasing the planes first, and then you have to wager that they are correct. I'm willing to wager that chassis is correct, or perhaps you could employ a different comparison. They're purchasing a stratum of locations, and you can't just pick things up like a violin. You must acquire knowledge. Learning it is a little more difficult. Since teaching inferential reasoning is a little more difficult, I'm only using analogies to help folks grasp that it takes time. The fact that they are unable to just flip a switch is upsetting people. Additionally, they make reference to the Olympics. People are asking, are you serious? I mean, the nation is stuck in the year 2012. They're watching the Olympics, after all, because they're watching the Olympics, and not me. They're not purchasing as much. Yes, I am aware that was strange. According to Jeff's message from today, clients are phoning to inquire about possible delays in Blackwell. The DOJ contacting Nvidia's rivals who have been complaining was the subject of the report that was released yesterday. Although it's slower there, they never truly stated that it would ship in large quantities. Therefore, those who believed it would ship in bulk ought to reconsider. They ought to speak with Jensen. He never stated that it will ship in large quantities at this time. Yes, exactly. The question of whether there will be a return on invested capital remains. By the way, Jesse stated the same thing, and the hyperscalers all gave yes answers. What about Zuckerberg? Do you recall? Indeed, he is discussing generative artificial intelligence. Jesse stated that it will grow rapidly and that the majority of it will be developed on the cloud from the beginning, which, gives those companies the chance to keep expanding. You haven't heard anything at all about the cloud GR from the people who are deciding how to allocate capital. That is what we should all be concentrating on. Just one thing, please. If you are upset with me, you can apologize. I'm sorry. I'm not angry. It's a huge day, so I became a little excited. However, I'm sorry I did. I think the story of the AI revolution is intact, as are all of our checks. Despite the white knuckles we're witnessing in the market, now is not the time to worry. According to the Financial Times, Elliott Management recently informed investors that Nvidia is in a bubble and that the hoopla surrounding AI technology is not being matched by reality. You disagree completely? Yes, I completely disagree. We arrived before to conference calls and earnings. I believe we even discussed it. Let's examine some numbers. Examine the Azure acceleration. Take a look at what Lisa Su from AMD discussed. Regarding the acceleration that Azure is aiming for in the second half, we observed what we believe to be disappointing. That is a great example of demonization. That time is now. The bigots have persisted in their hatred, in my opinion. For the past few years, the bears have been there. I understand that in tech right now, it's simple to walk out and sort of shout fire into a packed theater. Since it comes from more than simply the call, we are unable to view it. You see that the buzz is matched by the value. In my opinion, the street is underestimating the trillions of dollars that will be spent on AI capital expenditures over the next 3 to 4 years in terms of all tech. And nothing that we witnessed here detracts in the slightest from this. No, Dan, you're correct. Hear me out. None of them are abandoning their capital expenditure plans. Regarding your argument, I'm referring to AWS, which has actually accelerated its revenue growth by 19%. However, there is still the more significant question of whether you will eventually see that return on investment. Naturally, you think that will be the case, but what do you think will happen in the near future in terms of applications that will begin to allay some of the concerns that some investors would have from an enterprise standpoint? And in a few weeks, Godfather Jensen will share it with us. The application cases in enterprise currently on the AI road have increased by 45 times. As we've always discussed, these businesses are headed towards what I think will be use cases in the healthcare, finance, insurance, and retail sectors. It all comes together to demonstrate the modernization. Spending is present, and based on what Sue and Nadella discussed, as well as what we discussed with Sundar and Jesse, I believe that a revolution is taking place. The modernization process is only now beginning. To bet on this and against it, in my opinion, is like betting against Cook and 2.2 trillion in terms of where we eventually see, the actual install base. I'm not saying that we'll have an air pocket between the capex and when revenue comes. As you can see, Apple is currently undergoing a revolution in artificial intelligence. It's a difficult wager. Do you think it could last a year? Would you become anxious if it didn't happen within a year? That is, if the rhetoric didn't change? To use the terms second, third, and fourth derivatives, I would suggest that if we sit here in January or February and we haven't seen it, we haven't seen the monetization from a software viewpoint or from an actual mod, except from Mag 7. Naturally, we have to take a look at it if McDermott shows up and suddenly says he doesn't believe in artificial intelligence. However, it is currently more certain because to what we observe, not just from Ming's but also from our checks, I've never seen anything bad about Bill McDermott. He has already made a change, so I'll take McDermott, Sue, Nadella, and Cook if they see something. There have been reports regarding the Blackwell chip's delay and how it would affect some of those clients, including Microsoft, Google, and Meta, despite the fact that many are currently essentially adding petrol to the fire. How's that tale going for you? Do you believe this will make a difference? As far as Nvidia is concerned, I believe that they may have to wait up to 90 days for the Blackwell series chip. But in the meantime, their technology is so advanced that no one will be able to take market share from them, so it's theirs to keep. Since they are the most crucial link in the AI supply chain, I believe that their revenue news will just be postponed for a quarter or two. This will undoubtedly affect the development of AI infrastructure for some of the 4 large companies in the United States that are investing billions upon billions on this project. I know Sam touched on this, and she brought up the issue of the AI hype and being bullish on tech, which you are in general, but when you get down to the specifics, do you think the pressure will increase to the downside if an activist fund manager with the stature of Elliott Management claims that there is an overabundance of AI and that these stocks are overbought? I think we need to make a distinction between what I refer to as AI 1.0 and AI 2.0. I still feel very comfortable with AI 1.0. These are the names of the infrastructure buildings, which are usually semiconductor, data networking, and data server firms. The 4 hyperscalers have just stated in their conference calls that they will invest a total of $227 billion on AI infrastructure over the course of the next 12 months. I suppose no one makes such a commitment. They also claim that their capital expenditures will increase from that extremely high base in the next year. So I don't think they're going to alter those projections. I like all of those stocks then. I don't own any AI 2.0 equities since I haven't been convinced by them yet. These are the businesses that say they will have these amazing AI-powered revenue-generating goods on the other side of all the infrastructure construction expenditures. When I see it, I'll believe it. However, I currently only need the AI 1.0 stocks for my thesis to be correct. The AI 2.0 stocks are not necessary for me.